Would I be the idiot if I didn't get my sister a wedding gift? I, male 25, am a wedding planner, so when my sister, female 32, announced she was getting married, most of our family, including her included, assumed I'd help plan it for her. I initially didn't really want to, as her wedding is right in the middle of busy season, so I'd miss out on gigs that would pay, but then I decided that she's my sister, and this would be a good wedding gift and would just help with the wedding stress. She was so happy when I agreed, and we started going over her plans and themes. I found some venues and we went to look at them. I took care of all of the catering, so all she had to do was taste test and pick. I was also able to use my connections to get her special deals and stuff like that. At first it was pretty smooth, but as time went on it just got more and more stressful. She wouldn't communicate with anyone and almost got her photographer to quit. I had to convince him to stay. She'd constantly change her mind on things and then get mad they were changed, as I should have known she was just being indecisive and that I should have stuck with the first option. While I was setting up the registry, she told me I could have first dibs on what gift I was getting her. I looked at her confused and said that my help planning was my gift. She then said that a lot of families helped out and they are still getting gifts. I told her that other family members helped move furniture or lend me their car to pick up supplies. I was doing most of the work and was missing out on actually getting paid helping her. She said she's grateful for my help, but that this wouldn't really constitute a gift unless I was paying for things like her dress or the venue. And she said it didn't matter when I brought up that my connections have literally saved her thousands when you add them up. She's now calling me cheap and is getting our family involved. I don't know what she told them, they won't tell me, but they keep saying how selfish I am to make my sister's big day all about me. If I could afford it, I wouldn't mind getting her something, but the cheapest thing in the registry is almost $200 and I'm not well off. Plus my loss of income, one can't afford something like that run. I want to support her, but I don't think I'm gonna get her a gift. Would I be the idiot if I didn't? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Make an itemized bill for her outlining the hours you've spent, the income you've lost by turning down paid gigs, and the savings you've got her through your contacts. Print the final total in big, bold numbers, then print, "Gifted," in red letters across the front. Frame it and put it on a stand at the gift table at her wedding so everyone can see how generous you've been. Anyone who tries to argue that you're being selfish tells them to read it out loud. If they accuse you of being petty, tell them it would have been necessary if it had been appreciated by the bride and themselves. Comment 2. Not the idiot. While I would have maybe been clear up front that getting your services for free was the gift, your sister's level of entitlement is ridiculous. Frankly, I'd hand your sister a bill for the work you did that highlights the money you saved her with your industry discounts, and say either she can pay you and you'll get her something off the registry, or this and your continued free labor can be the gift. Helping out is when someone comes over to make favors, helps transport items, or decorate. You are providing a service and coordinating an entire event for her. Now for the update. I took some of your advice but didn't go as extreme as I think some of you were hoping I would. Sorry, but I can be a people pleaser and I don't want to ruin what is supposed to be a happy moment in her life. I put together a list of everything I had done, including all the discounts I had gotten her. I'm not sure if she knew they were discounts, as I didn't say they were discounts. I was saying things like, "I have been able to get you a quote of X amount from Y for Z," as well as stating what I would normally charge for a wedding this sized. I then texted her to ask if we could get some lunch and talk. When she arrived, I showed her the list and explained that I'm not asking her to pay this, but I wanted her to see how much I'm helping her and how much money I am losing by doing her wedding instead of taking on a client who would pay. At first she was shocked at the amount and accused me of lying to try and make her feel bad. I was able to show her bills from other weddings I had done before, and a quick Google search showed that my prices are pretty average. She had never looked up any wedding planner or their rates. She assumed I was always gonna do it. She said she thought it wasn't that much as I didn't seem to be well off. I told her that while it does pay well, I can't take on crazy amounts of clients since I need to give quality service, and that I might not always get clients all year. Plus I have a few medical expenses that can take out a large chunk. She said I still must have some money saved up. I said I do, but that I would be having to use it to cover my bills and stuff since my income is taking a hit due to taking on her wedding. After a while of insisting that some of the items on her registry aren't that expensive, she relented. I wouldn't have to get her anything since I had gotten her enough discounts to qualify as a gift, and that she was grateful for my help and services. Honestly, I didn't know how much this was stressing me until that relief washed over me. I was thankful that this was over and we could continue with planning her wedding. I asked her to clear things up with our family as they won't talk to me about it. She agreed and sent a group text explaining that the gift incident was just a misunderstanding and that we had talked it out and cleared things up. For those who are saying that her registry seems very expensive, her new husband, his family friends, and a lot of her friends are very wealthy, and she makes sure our parents and other close family are taken care of, so she kinda has become disconnected from people with normal financial status like me. There are a lot of things on the list like designer handbags, clothes, shopping sprees, dinners, and even a car and second home on there. The cheaper items are some simple jewelry she liked. She paid for my part of the lunch as an apology, and since I'm struggling and things are all good now, I think, thanks, everyone. Comment 1. I do not buy the disconnected from normal financial status. Lying. If she's that affluent, she would have heard plenty of bragging on how much others had spent on their weddings. It becomes a pissing contest to see who can put on the biggest show. She is just incredibly greedy. I mean, even after all of that explanation, she had the nerve to question your savings? She sounds awful. Comment 2. You're the idiot. Your sister may have had some unreasonable expectations, but refusing to get her a wedding gift is petty and will only strain your relationship further. As a wedding planner, you should understand the significance of gifts in celebrating a milestone event. Find a thoughtful gesture within your means to show your support and mend the rift. Hey guys, Dante here. I'm the creator of Story Hub and had a question for everyone. Do these comments take away from the video? I make an effort to find one of the crazies and finish the story with that comment. Let me know if this helps the video or makes it less enjoyable. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for not preparing my pregnant wife's food? My wife is 5 months pregnant and has started to feel hungry a lot. She is recovering from vomiting constantly, and now it's just once in a week or two. We both work from home. I try to do the majority of household chores, cooking, dishes, laundry, cleaning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, etc. Though it's a small apartment and no kids, so it's not really much work. And we typically just have milk and bread for breakfast, which I bring to her bed. She helps with cooking whenever she is feeling good, and very lately she has started to cook more than me. Otherwise, I cook the dinner with often some assistance from her, cutting onions, etc. We save dinner for lunch the next day. It's a good going most of the time. The problem is that my wife keeps complaining to me that she is hungry, and I haven't fed her. I do offer snacks like bananas, fruits, and nuts, but she says she is looking for some real food because she is really hungry. When I ask her, what do you want me to make, she often doesn't have an answer and tells me she doesn't know but is hungry. If I offer to make something, say, soup or boiled potatoes, she shoots it down for one reason or the other. It's carb and not good, it's too light and she is too hungry, etc. This gets me visibly frustrated. Today, she agreed to a serving of watermelon which I cut and served. While cutting it, I asked her to tell me what she wants to eat because she will start complaining that she is hungry, and I can't immediately have something ready to eat because it takes preparation. She said she is good for a while and didn't entertain my question. As predicted, when I visited her room an hour or so after work, she started pouting that she was hungry and I didn't feed her anything since lunch throughout the day. This made me a bit angry because I did feed her the melon and some dry snacks. It just wasn't proper food. Moreover, I had asked her what to eat exactly for this reason, and she had refused to answer then. I told her she is expecting too much from me, both figuring out what to make and make them. I asked her that she should at least take responsibility for figuring out what to eat and let me know in advance. She felt like I was invalidating her and then said, "Okay, won't tell you anything from now on," pouting. I got annoyed and left the room. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. You didn't feed her? Is she bedridden? If not, why can't she feed herself? Pregnancy does not equal disabled. Then the original poster responded with, her reasoning is that pregnancy troubles, discomfort, aches, nausea, and work stress is already taking a toll on her. Don't disagree there, and I should take care of things like getting food ready. Which I am happy to do only if I knew what exactly to do. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Being pregnant doesn't make her a princess, and it doesn't turn you into a butler. You're clearly being supportive and doing your best. This would be a different story if she was bedridden or a very dangerous pregnancy where you should know what she should have/not have. Now for the update. First things first, I feel I may have unintentionally cast my wife in a somewhat unfair light. She's far from the lazy, pampered princess some may have pictured. She's on her feet a fair bit, grabbing her own snacks, sipping water, and even tossing together some rice for our lunch now and then. She's really quite the team player around the house, always ready to lend a hand when she's feeling good. I often find myself encouraging her to kick back and rest. The real pickle here wasn't about her helping out or not, but about her leaning on me to sort out all her meals. Reading all your comments, I had a bit of an aha moment. She genuinely didn't know what she felt like eating. And to be totally transparent, this food decision deadlock isn't a new game for us. Pre-pregnancy, we'd often volley the "no, you decide" ball until one of us gave in. Now that we've got a baby on the way, I have realized it would be quite irresponsible of both of us to let her go hungry because she can't decide. While technically her responsibility to decide, I have taken up on following some advice here. Quick tangent: have you ever noticed how different you can be from your partner in certain ways? Like when I'm under the weather, I'm a big fan of sorting out my own needs, calling the doc, taking my meds, fetching my own hot water. My wife, though, she's all about caring and pampering, even when I'm barely sniffly. It's taken me a bit of time to get used to her high-level pampering expectations, but I'm getting there. So, following some solid advice from this community, I snagged Real Food for Pregnancy: The Science and Wisdom of Optimal Prenatal Nutrition, and it's been quite an eye-opener. I've shared the need-to-know parts with my wife, since reading makes her a tad nervous at the moment. We've come to realize we've been pretty off track with our nutrition. I told her we need to increase our protein consumption, and have shared my plans on buying more meat and fish. I also started following the advice of just giving her food without asking what she wants. It actually works. Overall, I think this is making her feel that I care about her diet, and our relationship has improved. I also feel pretty good about our diet now. In a nutshell, we're making progress. She seems more at ease with our meal situation, and I'm feeling pretty good about getting our nutrition on track. Comment 1. One piece of advice I would give is don't put too much pressure on eating perfectly during pregnancy. It's obviously great to eat as healthily as possible, but sometimes it's just as important to find something you can eat. Basically, use the knowledge you've gained to help with planning meals, but don't hold it up as a target to meet. That could just lead to unnecessary stress and guilt if it's difficult to stick to. Comment 2. I was one of the formerly pregnant people who suggested just putting food in front of her because she probably literally didn't know what she wanted. I'm glad it's working out. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for screaming at my husband and his sister to get out of my kitchen? My husband's sister, 38, lives with us and our kids. I'm well beyond fed up with her being here because of food issues. That's the only reason. So, basically, every single time I make food, his sister will come in and doctor up the food I'm making to her liking. Like I made steak and shrimp the other day, like Applebee's, and she waited until I left the room to put a full stick of butter in my shrimp that was already done, and when I came back in, she goes, "I'm pretty sure that's the taste you were looking for," and completely ruined it. It was trash. Or whenever I make spaghetti, she will start dumping sugar into the sauce, to a point of sweet spaghetti that me and my kids outright refuse to touch because it's nasty. Every single time that she can get away with it, she's doing something to the food. Anyways, my husband has started doing the same thing. I want to make homemade mac last night and cheeseburgers. I went to the basement to the chest freezer to grab the veggies I needed, and when I came back upstairs, my husband was putting canned chicken into the mac and cheese. He knows the kids absolutely hate the taste of that, and his sister has pushing blocks of blue cheese into the partially cooked burgers. I asked what the frick they thought they were doing, because I've told them so many times to stop fricking with the food, and neither of them had any good excuse, other than, "We were just helping." I flipped out and told them to get the frick out of my kitchen. Both of them told me I was overreacting, etc., etc. The thing is, I've openly asked my sister-in-law to cook several times and she won't. But she won't stop fricking with the food I'm making. My husband cooks often and I don't care if he screws with food he makes, but it royally pisses me off when my cooking is messed with, and he knows that. Am I the idiot? There's no updates, so here's a few comments. Not the idiot. Tell them that if they hate the food so much, they need to cook for themselves, and stop cooking for these people. Get your sister-in-law out of your home while you're at it. Comment 2. Not the idiot. When they ruin a dish, set it aside in the fridge. Then when they ask what's for dinner, tell them they can have whatever dish they ruined. Then take your kiddos out to eat or have takeout ready for them. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day. Am I the idiot for stealing my sister's baby? My 29, female, little sister, 21 female, we'll call her Jane, has a 14-month-old baby girl, we'll call her Sarah, whom I have had custody of since late June of 2022. Jane was divorcing her husband, jobless and homeless. I offered to take temporary guardianship of Sarah so she would be safe and cared for while Jane got her life together. At first, she turned me down. However, after Sarah was dropped off at our mom's house in dirty clothes and an old diaper by a stranger, while she was supposed to be under the care of her father, Jane agreed to give her to me and my wife. Now we made clear that it would be temporary, and that Jane would still have full access and could get Sarah back whenever she felt ready. However, during the last 6 months, Jane has completely disappeared from Sarah's life. She doesn't ask about her, she doesn't make any effort to visit her. She doesn't ask us to bring her to visit. She has gotten a job and an unsafe place to stay, yet hasn't offered to take any financial responsibility, not even in the form of buying her gifts. She doesn't call to talk to her or see her. I spoke to Jane recently about all this, and her defense is that it's too emotionally hurtful to see Sarah because of how much it hurts and how much she misses her. Her other excuse is that she doesn't have a car or enough money to buy Ubers or diapers. I told her how absolutely ridiculous all that is. You don't need a car or money to call or text. We have always made clear we'd be willing to bring Sarah to her, and she spends a wasteful amount of money on food and vapes. Even after speaking to her about the things she should or could be doing, she still has made no changes. Because of this, my wife and I have decided to look into our legal options for adoption. Sarah has legally been abandoned, and we only need to keep her a little longer before the courts would allow termination of Jane and her husband's rights. Husband is even more MIA than Jane is. Jane is livid about this and is threatening all kinds of things, but has done nothing. Important information. After I offered originally and before we actually got physical custody of Sarah, my wife and I attempted IVF and failed. We hadn't told anyone about this, even family. However, I told Jane about this on day one just so that there would be full honesty, and so that none of this would seem sneaky if it were to come out later. Jane is bringing this up in a very hurtful way during all this, saying that I am trying to steal her baby since we can't have one of our own. We have one adopted son already. This is very far from the truth. We are genuinely worried about the safety and well-being of Sarah if she were to go back to Jane, and the fact that Jane has essentially ghosted her baby. We feel we have every right to pursue permanent guardianship and adoption. So, am I the idiot? Edit 1. As several people have asked, why don't I take in my sister too? I don't have space or money for an adult. Sarah has a bed in our room, and we spend about $700 a month on her. There is no way we could cover an adult, too. And even if we could, she is not someone I would live with. She is a very unclean person, doesn't shower or wash her clothes, and hangs out with junkies and other questionable people. She lost her last living situation because her roommate was arrested for possession of meth in the home. My wife and I have a 7-year-old son, and now Sarah, to protect. Edit 2. In regards to the $700 a month, that is an average. She came to us with nothing. We had to buy clothes, bottles, formula, a bed, a car seat, a stroller, etc. Now that a lot of the big stuff is out of the way, it's not so bad, but babies/kids are expensive. She's growing fast, so clothes are a constant as well as diapers, wipes, and medical care. Additionally, I'm including all the legal fees we've paid. We count everything because we're keeping all receipts as part of proof of Jane's abandonment of Sarah. My state calculates the financial side of abandonment as a certain percentage of total expenses. Edit 3. And this may come off a little aggressive. I certainly don't mean it to be. At what point is reunification just a nice way to say ripped away from the only family/home she's ever known? It's a sweet sentiment and all, but Jane is a stranger to Sarah, and she is making no effort to change that. Years from now, when Jane finally gets it together, we're supposed to just give Sarah up? Even if we did a slow integration, how could that possibly be less traumatic than staying in her home with her family? If she was a little older and knew what was going on and could remember her mom despite being no contact for 6 months, that would be one thing. But she's an infant that has bonded to us the way infants are supposed to bond with their family in order to have secure attachments now and later in life. I truly, truly love my sister, and I really want her to straighten up and live a happy, healthy life. But the decisions she has made over the last 6 months are not ones that can be taken back. When Jane gets it together, I will be happy to let them have whatever relationship Sarah chooses to have with her, but it's not going to be a given that Jane will get her back. Final edit, as I have my answer. I do just want to make it clear, as a lot of people seem to be focusing on the wrong thing here. The issue is not that Jane hasn't been able to get her life together in only 6 months. She has been through hell and back, and I'm very sympathetic to that. I understand it takes time, sometimes even years to fix. The issue is that she has completely stepped out of Sarah's life. She has ghosted her, she has given up all responsibility and contact, and she is a stranger to Sarah. Sarah doesn't even recognize Jane in any way. The issue I am talking about with Jane, and why I feel we should pursue adoption, is because of the utter abandonment Jane has shown over the last 6 months. Now, for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. I am an adopted kid. My mom was a drug addict and knew she wouldn't get her life together. Look, wait until she can legally sever ties and don't bring this up again. Keep track of every time you reach out asking for assistance or offer to take the wee baby Sarah to her mother, and she refuses or misses an appointment in CA. It's 15 months to sever ties. Do not leave her unsupervised. Once you hit your state's threshold, lawyer up and make your case. If legally you already have temporary custody, a good portion of the battle is won. It's better to maintain the status quo and peacefully win the war than preempt an uphill battle in family court. Bide your time, make your case open and close, and then formally adopt your daughter. I wish you all the best. Then the original poster responded with, "Thank you. This is exactly the plan." Comment 2. Not the idiot. Saying you stole Sarah is just Jane's way of abandoning her child while absolving herself of the guilt. I imagine the emotions there are pretty complicated. Stop worrying about Jane or looking bad and take comfort in the fact that you are doing what is best for Sarah. Anyone who believes Jane over you isn't worth having on your team anyway. Good luck. Now for the very short update. To note, this update took place 6 months after the initial post. My sister and her husband signed the adoption paperwork without any fuss. Sarah will officially be our daughter on June 28th. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for refusing to go to my friend's BF's party after she demanded to approve my outfit? My female 29 friend Kate, 28, has a boyfriend, Jamie, 29, whom she has been with for nearly 3 years. We met Jamie on a night out, and I would say that although he's Kate's BF, I consider him a friend. We share an interest in a particular sport that we text about sometimes, and if I have a spare hospitality ticket to one of the sporting fixtures, I will sometimes invite Jamie to go. Jamie's 30th is coming up and Jamie and Kate planned a big party, and I peripherally helped out with logistics when asked. A few days ago, Kate texted me. She asked if I wouldn't mind toning down my look for the party, and if I could send her a picture of what I was planning to wear. I asked her what this meant, and after asking several times if she really had to say it, she asked if I could dress verbatim. Basically what I would consider frumpy, because she really didn't want to be outshone at her own boyfriend's birthday party. When I didn't reply right away, she went on to say that she wanted Jamie's full attention that night, which she wouldn't get if I showed up dressed properly. I was a bit annoyed by what she was implying, so I said if I was going to be so much of a concern for her, I'd rather just politely decline the invitation. Kate freaked out, saying I was being immature by not coming just because I couldn't steal the spotlight. I said it wasn't about that, it was about her making me responsible for whether or not I draw her boyfriend's attention, which is something I've never tried to do nor done as far as I'm aware. She then said it was really important to Jamie that she stand out because his friends and colleagues would be there. I just told her that again, if she was so worried I was going to be distracting everyone, I'd rather not come than feel humiliated from now until the event. I said I would send her Jamie's gift, and she could tell him why I wasn't coming. I guess she didn't tell him the reason because Jamie messaged me saying he knows I'm booked the night of the party, but he'd really like it if I could be there, and asked if I could reorganize so I could come. I hadn't replied, but I got a message from Kate saying she knows Jamie is trying to get me to come and please could I just put my pride aside and come to the party. I asked if she was going to ditch the outfit policing, but she said no, so I said I would not be coming. She didn't reply, but I've since received a couple of texts from mutual friends saying that while her request is ridiculous, Kate is aware of that. She's just desperate to be seen a certain way, and even if it's pathetic, I would probably feel the same way in her shoes. Other friends I've told, who don't know Kate, say I should not bow to the pressure and that she's nuts for even asking, And I don't disagree. But also I feel bad skipping the party when it's Jamie's birthday and he asked specifically that I come. So, should I be going? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. Tell Jamie the truth. Just say, sorry, but when the choices are giving up my bodily autonomy or giving up the party, the choice is simple. Comment 2. Not the idiot. A friend that demands you look bad just to make themselves look good isn't a great friend. You aren't responsible for her self-esteem. She needs to find ways to feel better about herself that doesn't involve dictating what others wear. She's too old for this middle school bus. Now for the update. First of all, thanks to everyone for the advice. Most responses were not what I was expecting, and really gave me a lot to think about. As surprised as I was that so many people said to tell Jamie, I did realize it was the right thing to do. So, I texted him and told him that Kate was insisting I dressed a certain way. Jamie called and explained. A couple of months ago, Jamie and Kate were out with a few of his friends. These same friends that I mentioned in my comments are not fond of Kate, and everyone had had a lot to drink. They were talking about how they met their SOs, and the story of Jamie and Kate meeting came up. Apparently during the telling of the story, Kate asked Jamie why he had decided to hit on her rather than me, and one of his friends joked that it was because he knew he didn't have a shot with the hot one, me. Kate asked if this was true, and Jamie, having had way too much to drink, explained in a way that made it sound kind of true. He said he did notice me that night and thought I was attractive, just seeing me. He said he would never have approached me because he knew he would never have a chance with someone like me, so in that way, his friend was right. He said that speaking to Kate was the absolute best outcome because he loves her and plans on spending the rest of his life with her. But even knowing this, Kate has taken this extremely hard, and even though she says she is over it, he's noticed changes in her behavior that seem to be related to that. He also admitted that he'd been planning to propose to Kate at the party, and that is why he'd wanted me to be there. But after hearing this on top of the way she has been handling the situation previously, he won't be doing that anymore. After speaking to Jamie, I called Kate. She admitted that she had tied a lot of her self-worth in the fact that she'd finally been picked over me, and now it felt like that wasn't true. She apologized for trying to solve her insecurities through me, but also said she wasn't sure she would be able to have me in her life as much as I had been with the way she's been feeling. As hurt as I was, I said I understood. She said she still wanted me to come to the party, since I'd helped organize it, and she obviously dropped the absurd dress code, so I will be going to the party. I trust that Kate will communicate her boundaries to Jamie, but I don't plan on inviting him to any more events for the foreseeable future. I'm really sad that I probably lost a long-time friend over the drunken awkwardness of other people. But I also get that Kate can't help how she feels, and frankly it's for the best not to be in a secret competition. So yeah, I'm hurt, but I'm going to the party. Not a satisfying update, but an honest one. Update. Going through these comments has actually brought up a couple of memories that have, in hindsight, made me a bit uncomfortable, and I actually don't think I will end up going to this party. As much as the mutual friends will have questions and I don't know how much of the truth I will end up telling, I feel too weird right now to continue to be involved in this situation. Comment 1. Jamie sounds like a real piece of work with bad taste in friends, so you dodged a bullet there. That's not something you should say in front of your partner. I hope Kate gets out of this relationship before it gets any more serious, and you two can mend fences. But either way, be glad he didn't think he had a shot with you and that you can just walk away from this drama-filled mess. Comment 2. This is heartbreaking for Kate. You did nothing wrong, and she obviously was out of line with what she asked of you, but I can't imagine hearing your partner say that would be an easy thing to get over, especially if she's insecure. She shouldn't have asked, edit, I'm referring specifically to the rather than OP part of her question. He shouldn't have said what he did or exposed her to his friends if they have a history of not treating her well. I'm sorry you're losing a good friend over this. I hope she takes a step back from him and you guys patch things up. Their relationship doesn't sound all that healthy. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day. Am I the idiot for storming out a restaurant and putting my friends in an awkward position? I need to start off by saying that I, male 19, have mild autism and I was homeschooled. I have trouble navigating social situations, though I think I've gotten better since coming to college, which makes me think I might be in the wrong here. Since coming to college, I have got a group of friends and it's been fun, except they insist that I'm in love with our new friend Mark, 20M. He joined our group about a month ago. Me and Mark have a lot of things in common, so we bonded quickly. Because of that, our other friends said that we are in love and made for each other. It was a good laugh until they kept repeating it. They kept making claims that made it sound like I had feelings for him, and it got super weird. For instance, one day we were hanging out in Mark's dorm and I left when an emergency came up. In my rush, I left my charger. It got returned to me, but the others claimed I left it on purpose so I could leave a piece of me with him. Another time I was eating spaghetti, and some of them said I was practicing to eat Mark's ass. Comments like this occur about 6 or 7 times a day. I have no idea where it's coming from. I'm not even gay. A week ago, I asked Mark if he was as uncomfortable with it as I am. He didn't know they said those things because they never said it to him. It's only been to me, why? I sent a message to our group chat. Guys, the comments you make about me and Mark are really making me uncomfortable. Especially since I found out they've only been directed at me. Please stop. I don't find them funny or amusing. They apologized and said they wouldn't do it again. Friday, 6 of us, excluding Mark, went to dinner together. While we were waiting to order, Jada, female 19, asked if I wanted to date Mark. I told her no and to drop that stuff since it makes me uncomfortable. She asked why I was so uncomfortable if it's not true. I told her that's exactly why. It's not true, but they keep talking like it is. She said it is true, and she knows it's true. I could feel myself getting angry and didn't want to melt down, so I just left. Walked out and drove back to my dorm. I texted the group chat that I did not wish to be around Jada given what happened. Jada got mad and said I was letting a guy ruin our friendship. And I didn't know how to take a joke. I've ignored her messages and calls. All of our friends side with me, but a few of them said it was putting them in an awkward position and I should let it go. I already stated that I'm not the best with social interactions, so I'm thinking maybe I am an idiot. Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. And you handled it very maturely. You brought it up to the group first. You made your feelings clear. When someone violated that boundary, you removed yourself rather than cause a scene in front of everyone. You have set a firmer boundary that you do not want to be around someone who is clearly ignoring the first boundary. If Jada is having issues, it is because of her own actions. Comment 2. Not the idiot. You're being bullied by your so-called friends who I believe aren't really friends if they keep doing that stuff. Or if it's just Jada doing it now, for the update. There were a lot of comments. I didn't respond to all of them, but I did read most and think about the situation. First thing I did was talk to Mark. He assured me that my behavior never seemed flirtatious or inappropriate. I told him that I was gonna cut off the rest of them. He told me he would do the same, but I told him not to. I appreciate the support, but I'm the one having the issue. I didn't speak to anyone from that group except for Mark for a couple weeks. I've been meeting new people and it's going fine. Then a few days later, some came by my room and wanted to talk to me. To my surprise, it was the 4 people, Chris, Emma, Ty, and Micah, who I wasn't as close with as the others. We started talking and the first thing they did was apologize for the situation and for making me uncomfortable. I asked them one of my biggest things I was curious about: why were the comments directed at only me? Here's what I learned. Jada told them she talked to me and they could make comments to me and I would be okay with it, but said she talked to Mark and he said he would be uncomfortable. I didn't believe this until they showed me the messages. I never told Jada this and I doubt she talked to Mark, so she lied, and that's when it started. I was still confused on why she would make them in the first place. Ty, Micah, and Chris didn't know, but Emma showed me her messages with Jada. To the person who asked if Jada has a crush on Mark, you are incorrect. Jada has a crush on me. For the past 4 months. Even though I'm not the best socially, once I saw the messages, I'm pretty sure she was jealous of Mark and was trying to make me uncomfortable around him. The other 3 saw the messages and thought the same thing. So she was jealous. Nobody aside from Emma knew this though. They just joined in because they thought it would be funny. I asked why am I being uncomfortable with a joke or funny? They didn't have a response. I told them what a lot of people told me in the replies, how it was bullying and homophobic to make such remarks and disguising them as jokes is just an excuse. I acknowledge that I should have said something sooner, but it also should have never gotten to that point. They again apologized and asked if I could forgive them. Truthfully, I have already gotten past the situation and moved on. Ultimately, I did decide to give these for a second chance. The fact they came to talk, apologize, explain, and weren't on the defensive or dismissive when I was explaining how I felt or what made them wrong, I think that's a good sign. It will take a bit longer to fully regain my trust, but haven't had any issues since then. Edit. I talked to my parents about the situation and they were confused about some things, so I thought maybe I should clarify here as well. When I said a few weeks, I meant about 18 or 19 days. Which is still a long time, but it wasn't almost a month later. Maybe I should have specified that in the update. There's a few reasons it took them some time though. 1. I was actively avoiding/ignoring the group. 2. My dad said the 4 of them probably didn't notice at first. Like I said, I wasn't as close with them as the others, and counting me and Mark, the group had 16 people. My dad said it probably took them a while to realize I wasn't hanging around them at all. 3. I started summer school. That has taken up most of my time and focus. It's also why its update is late when it occurred like a week ago. I forgot about it. Some of you guys said to be wary of Emma. My mom actually advised the same thing. Like I said, they are slowly building my trust back, but it takes time. It will take more time with her. Lastly, I want to thank everyone who gave their input on the situation. I was honestly really close to blowing up several times, but like I said, I'm trying to manage them better. I try to follow the example my grandfather set. My parents, and some people who messaged me, asked if I forgive too easily. I honestly don't know. But I believe in second chances. Comment 1. Wow, I did not expect that plot twist. Obviously I'm not pro-jealous scheming, but hers was just really dumb. Let me get closer to this guy by constantly telling him I think he's gay and that he should be with our other friend. Glad those people had the balls to tell you what happened and apologize. I would be wary of Emma just because she knew everything and still went along with it until it got out of control. But glad that you had people who were able to reflect and own their poor choices. Good for you for getting the idiots out of your life. Comment 2. YTA. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually side with Jada here. You overreacted by storming out of the restaurant and putting your friends in an awkward position. They were just joking around, and you should learn to take a joke. Your lack of social skills and inability to understand humor is not an excuse for your behavior. You should apologize to Jada and your friends for your overreaction. Now, for the next story. And stay tuned because the original poster was very active when answering questions. AITA for telling my SIL why I've missed her wedding ceremony and therefore ruining her wedding evening. Hi 24F, have a brother who is getting married to Victoria, 25F. Vic and I have a very good relationship. Last year, my brother proposed. Vic took the lead for all the wedding preparation because she is taking a gap year between jobs. My brother easily supported both of them and the wedding. So whenever we have questions about the wedding, she is the person we need to talk to. Important background info. I'm allergic to nuts and coconuts. I don't need an EpiPen, but I have massive diarrhea. Last time I had a reaction, I was so dehydrated I needed to go to the hospital. For the wedding day, we have a caterer planned for an only family brunch, then it's the ceremony, and then we have a celebration with all the guests. So for the meals at the wedding, I texted 2 months in advance to Vic to ask if I would be able to eat, and told her my specific food allergies, in case she forgot. I told that if not, I would be able to bring my lunch and eat amongst everyone without any problem. It's something I do sometimes at big family gatherings, because I don't expect everyone to be extra careful every time for me. Vic told me that everything should be fine. 4 days before the wedding, I texted again to be sure, and she said that the menu does not contain any of my allergens. Wedding day, on the family brunch, I started to feel bad in my tummy. I privately asked the chef if anything contained any nut/coconut, and hold and behold, the sauce for the egg contained coconut. I excused myself and went back home, 20 minutes away from the venue. After this, well, you can imagine the toilet became my best friend. I spent the next 5 hours on the toilet. I texted my brother to excuse myself, that I won't be able to come to the ceremony and I would try to come to the celebration. So around 8 hours after the brunch, I was able to go back to the celebration. I gave my wedding toast to my brother and after, Vic came to me and asked why I was absent from the ceremony. I told her that the brunch did contain coconut, and I spent the whole day on the toilet. I'm glad I was able to come back to the ceremony, and did not need to go to the hospital. She then left back to my brother, and spent the rest of the evening talking to guests. Next day, I've received many texts from my brother, saying I was an SSH to told her during her wedding day that she was responsible of me being sick and that I should have told her some lies to make her happy. He told me she cried the whole wedding night about this. Since then, I've received texts from family members, friends, bridesmaids, who called me an *SS for ruining her wedding night. I'm starting to believe was an *SS and should have said to her a false reason explaining my absence during the ceremony because it ruined her evening. So, AITA? Should I have lied to her? Now for a few comments before the update. It was important to let her know the truth. If she had caterers who promised not to use an ingredient, and then they did, she needs to figure out why this happened and maybe get something credited back. Someone could have died. Her emotions were aimed at the wrong person. NTA. Then the original poster responded with, "This is a really good point. Right now, Asael and my brother are in low contact with me, but it is something I'm going to investigate further." Comment 2. NTA. Her reaction is not your responsibility, unless you told her directly, or passively, that it was her fault. Then the original poster responded with, "She may easily blame herself for it, because she was the one organizing the whole event and therefore chose the menu. But I didn't say explicitly that it was her fault or her mistake." Now for the update. 4 to 5 days after the wedding and the Reddit post, after all of those comments and reflections, I've texted my Asael. I said that I was sorry that everything happened the way it did. But I was not wrong to tell her the truth, and this whole situation could have been very dangerous. I did my part by asking her about the allergies, and even with that a reaction happened, but I do feel sad that she passed a bad night indirectly because of me. Victoria called me after my text and said she understood my situation and the fact it could have been very dangerous. She assured me she called and emailed the caterer informing them of all the allergies and food requirements. She said then that a part of her is mad at me because she thinks I should have told her the next day, but it's on her to work on that and to process those feelings. When she came back from her honeymoon, we investigated this. After many calls, we found the problem. The caterer has 2 sub-teams. The main one, supper, was the one Victoria informed about the food requirements. It was their responsibility to inform the morning team about it. It's actually impossible to contact the morning team directly. All the administration is on the main/supper team. One of the workers of the morning team sent us their email stating all the food requirements, and surprise, the coconut was absent. So the lady in the main team whom Victoria was working with miswrote the email and forgot to state about the coconut to the morning team. Plus, coconut is not considered a common allergen, so it is rarely written on the menu pamphlet. The catering, to excuse themselves, reimbursed the whole bill for the morning and supper. It was a very fancy catering business, so the bill was quite high. They even gave an additional sum for me, at the condition we don't sue. Victoria left me with the choice, and I chose to take the money. I know there is a possibility to get more if we sued, but in the end, no one died and I didn't want to go through a whole suing process. Plus, this whole situation could have been avoided if I went to the chef beforehand, so in court that would have played against us. My brother and Vic did a whole post on their wedding Facebook group about this situation. They said that the incident was not their fault, nor mine, but the catering business who took responsibility for their action. After it, many of the family members who wrote insults excused themselves about their comments. My brother is still bitter about this situation and still thinks I could have simply waited a day before telling the bride about the incident. But Vic and I are closer now than we were. So this is a happy ending. And I can only wish the catering will learn their lesson and create a better system for allergies. And for now, I will always double check with the catering business on next weddings. Comment 1. As many people have pointed out in the original post, your brother needs to be thankful that his wedding didn't end with a funeral. Vic sounds way more mature than him. I'm sure you know that some forms of allergy can lead to an intensifying reaction with every exposure to the allergens. I'm also guessing you were on the toilet alone, and could have dehydrated and gone into cardiac arrest from lack of electrolytes with no one around to help. Your brother needs to get over himself and appreciate still having a sister. Then the original poster responded with, Vic was very mature and thoughtful in this whole situation after. She took my defense early on when she learned all the comments I had from my family. But yeah, my brother doesn't let things go easily. I think the bride and the groom should not have any negativity during their wedding, and because the situation was done and no one was hurt or dead, she didn't need to know right away. My mother is actually on my side and thinks he is acting like a child, because he is still giving me cold shoulders. Work in progress. Comment 2. It's wild to me that Vic was more concerned about you and understood her feelings were irrational more than your own brother. But I'm glad you both got to the bottom of it and got repaid for your troubles. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.